سنای ايالات متحده آمريكا، استماع وزارت خارجه و وزارت خزانه داری در زیرکمیته خاور نزدیک و آسیای جنوبی. نقش رژیم ایران در سرکوب قیام مردم سوریه. 9 نوامبر 2011، 18 آبان 1390. سرنگونی رژیم سوریه، یک ضربه ویران کننده به رژیم ایران. جفری فلتمن، معاون وزارت خارجه. تظاهرات در سراسر سوریه در میان همه خواسته ها لحن ضد حزب الله و ضد رژیم ایران دارد. مردم سوریه به خوبی می‌دانند چه کسی است که به دولت آنها کمک می‌کند تا آنها را بکشد، دستگیر کند و شکنجه کند. لوک برونین از وزارت خزانه داری. سپاه پاسداران رژیم ایران از بیرحمی رژیم اسد حمایت می‌کند. سیاست رژیم ایران صادر کردن تاکتیک‌های سرکوبگرانی این رژیم به سوریه است.
The Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps Quds Force and Iran's law enforcement forces for assisting the regime's brutality. Iran claims solidarity with the popular movement sweeping the Arab world today, but Iran's real policy is plain: to export to Syria the same repressive tactics employed by the Iranian government against its own people.
Can you talk about the current relationship between Iran and Syria and how Iran is playing into what's going on there right now? Are they supporting Assad, and to what extent? And how does the violence in Syria affect their view of what's going on?
Senator, it's a very interesting topic, because the short answer is yes, Iran is definitely helping Bashar, giving him the tools by which he represses his own people, cracks down on them, etc. They're providing, expertise, advice, what we would call technical assistance to do bad things. They're providing equipment by which you can monitor opposition activity on the internet, all that sort of stuff. And it's one of the reasons why, as my colleague mentioned, the IRGC was sanctioned in one of the 3 executive orders that the President has announced this year. At the same time, Iran's embarrassed. You start to see Iranian leaders, even people like Ahmadinejad, who talk about the need to end violence in Syria, talk about the need for reform. Now, this is completely cynical on their part, because they do just as bad things to their own people. But it suggests to us that the Iranian leadership recognizes, A, that they've lost credibility across the Arab world because of their support of this brutal dictator, and that, B, he might not survive. And they have got to start positioning themselves for the day after Bashar. So I think Iran is actually in a very interesting bind right now. They're trying to save him without losing what shreds of credibility they may still have in the Arab world, while also trying to signal to the Syrian people that, well, we know he might not survive, and we know that he shouldn't be doing those bad things to you.
Clearly, their ambitions in the region are known, and they're counter to not only our national interests, but quite frankly, the safety of the world. And I don't think that argument needs to be,
I would say, essential to the extremely negative role that Iran has been able to play in the region. Take Hezbollah. The transit routes for the arms to Hezbollah are via Syria. The facilitation that Iran gives to Hezbollah to undermine the state of Lebanon, to put Israel at risk, to basically destabilize the region, it comes via Syria. Syria is basically Iran's only friend. Iran is Syria's best friend. In fact, it's one of Syria's few remaining friends. While we've talked earlier about how Russia and China vetoed a Security Council resolution, the Russians and Chinese do care about Arab attitudes. As I said earlier, I don't think that we've seen the end of the story on Russia and China. But if you look at Iran's friends, or Syria's friends, as our embassy, and I thank you all for the comments on Ambassador Ford, which of course we certainly all endorse, our embassy reports, it also comes into other channels, that these demonstrations across Syria have, among other demands, an anti-Hezbollah, anti-Iran flavor to them. That the Syrian people know exactly who it is that's providing the assistance to their government to kill them, arrest them, and torture them. They know it's from Iran and from Hezbollah, which means that a change in government that comes about where you have a government in Syria that's governing by the consent of the people is not going to be the asset for Iran that Syria is today. It is in our strategic interest to see that this change take place quickly.
The loss of the Assad regime would be a devastating blow to Iran. Is that inaccurate?
Yes, I would. Yes. I mean, we'll see. People talk about there could be another sort of Alawite, or not Alawite, but an Assad palace coup inside. But I think that's very unlikely. So yes, the high probability is that a government that comes in with the consent of the Syrian people will not be an asset of Iran.
Now, one of the